YouTube, we got cold texting tips for land flippers. YouTube breakdown. Subscribe for more tips that I actually use in my land flipping business. Basically, we're just going to go over a lot of, obviously, tips for cold texting that I actually use in my land business. We're going to talk a lot about personalization. That's probably one of my biggest points. And I'm hoping that you guys can actually implement this in your business so you guys can get a little bit of a better result in your campaigns. So without further ado, let's just get straight into number one, which is how to personalize your text a little bit better. I want to talk about why personalization is so important as well. And that's because of the fact that you have competition. When you personalize your text messages, you instantly separate yourself from the handful of generic text that the same seller has gotten already this month. They may have gotten 5 texts already this month, but because you went out of your way to just set up a little bit of personalization in your campaign, and it really doesn't take that much time to do, you automatically set yourself apart from the rest. And I get this all the time. I get, that people have already gotten, maybe 5 texts this month, but they reached out to me because I sounded the most prepared in my text. And guys, without personalizing your text, you might actually need to do like 3 to 5x more volume than someone does who actually uses personalization to get the same amount of deals. And this applies even more so when you're in a super fast moving county that everyone's trying to buy in because they know that things are going to sell quickly. So really keep that in mind moving forward, and definitely take this into consideration. This is like the number one thing that you can do to instantly get better results in your campaigns. Now, in order to personalize your text a little bit more, I'm going to give you a couple examples of what I do. I use someone's first name to start my text pretty much in all of my texting campaigns. I also like to mention specifics from the property. So like you can say that you had seen their 2.3 acres. So if you can give them like an exact acreage, for example, or even the same street, that's awesome. And they know exactly what property you're talking about. They don't have to waste their time trying to figure out what property you're even talking about if they have multiple, because it says right in the text. Now, I just want to give you guys a good example. And by the way, I did close on this property, but you can see that I said, "Howdy, Donovan." And obviously, this is my business partner, Francis. I'm Francis. Saw your land on Meadow Drive. I think this is like the zip code, but I don't want to tell you guys the exact property. Are you selling it? I want land in the country to build on. So, obviously, this is my campaign name. And then, so he says, "Didn't know I have any over there. Guess it's possible. Yes, I would sell." So he didn't even know he had properties over here. And this is important because, let's say, for example, I said, "Saw your land. Are you selling it?" Like, if I didn't put the address, he would think I'm talking about a completely different property. And then, I clarified with him the properties on Meadow Drive, city, zip code, yada, yada, yada. And the blanked out text is the city, state, bottom represents city, state, zip code. So it's just good to be as specific as possible so that they know exactly what you're talking about. Now, here's a bad text. And obviously, I don't have like a screenshot example because I don't really use bad text in my business. That would be stupid. So this is a horrible text. "Hey, I'm a land investor with company name." So you just say your company name, or you can just say, "Hey, I'm a land investor. My name is blank." It's kind of the same thing. "I would like to buy your vacant land." This is a horrible text because you can literally send this to like 1 million people and you don't have to change it at all because there's absolutely no personalization in there. And it's so easy to just add their first name, especially because all the texting softwares have it so it's automated. You just put a merge field here and it just takes the info from your sheet. So it's super easy to add a first name. It's super easy to add address, add a lot size. Let's talk about why it's bad. Again, no personalization, so you don't catch the person's attention at all. They may have no idea what land you're talking about if they own multiple. And of course, they don't even care your company name or like what your name is really, to be honest. And I also don't like that there's no like exclamation points. I'm really big on exclamation points. I think it stands out a little bit more. I think it's just better to use in periods in most cases. I also kind of like adding smiley faces in there too. Makes it seem like you're a little bit of more of a real person. I get actually a pretty good response rate with smiley faces at the end of my text. So yeah, that's something that you can add in as well. Now, in terms of timing and follow-ups, the follow-up sequence matters because most replies come after message 2, to be honest, or even 3 sometimes. And even if they're not interested in selling, it's nice having a for sure answer so you can kind of take them off your list at the same time so you don't follow up with them again and waste any more advertising money on a bad lead. So when you are following up, you kind of want to change the text a little bit each time. So like obviously your first message can be like an introduction. Hey John, I'm interested in your land on 123 Lane. Would you be interested in selling it? Something like that. I don't know. Just personalize it. And the message 2 can be like a little check-in, like, hey, did you see my message? I'm interested in your land on blank. I'm cash ready. Something like that. And then obviously message 3, this is kind of what I like doing to get an answer. So I would say something like, hey, is this the owner for the land on, and then say the address out. So 123 Lane. You'll get a lot of answers, especially if it's a wrong number. They'll say no, or they'll say yes, not interested in selling. So it's good with this message because you can get an answer almost every time. And then message 4, what I like to do here, I get a lot of responses asking how they want to proceed. At this point, a lot of people tell me I don't want to proceed, stop texting me, which is at least I'm getting an answer, so I can cross them off my list. But also, I can ask for a ballpark number. I'm like, hey, is there any ballpark number that you'd consider? And a lot of times you can get an answer out of someone, and sometimes the answer that they give you, you can actually work with right away. So I really like this text as a 4th message, or even a 3rd message as well. You can kind of split these up, but that's kind of what I like doing personally. I probably wouldn't send a message after the 4th one, at least in the next couple days. Maybe in a couple months down the line you could. But yeah. In terms of how I space out my text, I usually space my follow-up text one day after the first text. So message 2 would be one day after. Then I kind of do it like on what text it is. That's like how many days I wait. So if it's the 3rd text, I'll wait 2 days. If it's the 4th text, I'll wait 3 days. So I kind of just look up one, and I don't know. That's just how I do it. And I stop after the 4th. Now, you also want to separate phone numbers, and so you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, so let me explain. But when you skip trace, you often get like 5+ possible phone numbers, and so you want to separate. You can target as many phone numbers as you want. I would say after the 4th one, it's probably useless. But I personally like doing the first phone number that I get and the second one. So you want to have different campaigns that separate the different phone numbers, because you don't want to have a campaign where you send the same text to the same person, or it might not be the same person. It might be like a husband and a wife, but both of the husband and the wife are in the same campaign because that's mobile number 1 and mobile number 2 you got from the skip trace, and now you just texted them the same thing. So we've done this before when we first started, and we quickly realized that is not a good idea and that we should separate it. And then if you're going to go text a second mobile number, you just manually change it right after. So definitely do that so the deal doesn't get weird when you text both of them. Now, again, this happened to me. Again, it takes more time to separate, but trust me, it'll save an awkward conversation, and it'll help you develop better relationships with sellers. Or in this case, it'll help you not start forming a bad relationship with them. So I guess my next tip is just to kind of try to be like a real person. I would use your real name. I never use my company name. In fact, people probably don't even know what my company name is until they see the purchase agreement, honestly. So yeah, just use your own name. Don't be a company. You can tell them that you're a land investor, but just don't lead with your company name. In my experience, I found that that's so much better. People respond better when they feel like they're texting like a genuine person and not just like a company that's just mass texting everyone. And then, yeah, if you can get them on the phone to talk to them, this plus, an initial personalization on your text is like the best combo for them to think that you're a real person who's genuinely interested and who's not just spamming a million people, because they get a bunch of spam text from companies all the time. And then you look just better in this case because you have the perfect combo to show them that you're actually a real person. So my next tip is to remember to follow up with good leads. So sometimes people will respond with their ballpark number, if you send the ballpark number text, for example, and then never respond again, even though you like the price and you want to move forward, and you're like spam texting them every day. You're like, hey, let's talk on the phone. I like your price. And you keep calling. Follow up with the mail. Definitely write those people down. Make sure you're sending mail to them. If you really like the price and you don't really care to negotiate, you can send them a purchase agreement for that price, but let them know that you're serious. If you guys give up there, you're wasting leads. Now, I run into this actually a decent amount, and I always follow up with letters, and sometimes that works. Now, another tip is you want to have a CRM or some sort of way to keep track of leads, because you need to be following up with certain leads months later down the line, because either they're a good lead, maybe they're on the fence, they're thinking about it, so you need to remember to follow up with them. Or you can always follow up with those other types of leads with another marketing channel. So you kind of just want to stay organized. Make sure you know when you're texting certain subdivisions or counties, or however you're sending your texts. Just make sure, because you want to be hitting these people from different areas. So like, for example, these people will remember your name if they saw it in a text, but then they're opening a letter from you, a couple months down the line. They'll remember that you followed up and that you're different from the rest of the competition who just sent them one text. They will like to go with you instead. I promise. Following up is super important, especially with different marketing channels. So guys, if you liked any tips in the video, maybe like the video, subscribe if you're new. Definitely leave a comment, anything that you learned, or if you have any questions, concerns, stuff like that. Better yet, you can also DM me on Instagram. You can see my socials at the bottom of the screen. I answer all my DMs, so feel free to ask me any questions. People ask me questions all the time. I get back to them quickly. So if you also maybe want certain scripts that I actually use to text, you can DM me on Instagram too. But again, guys, I have been your host, Levi. I hope you guys have a nice rest of your day, and peace out.